Being with us this election day. Hello, everyone. I'm Brad Burr.
And I'm Shelley Kirk. The 2018 general election is living up to the hype as Americans across the country exercise their right to vote. Now, one of the biggest races we're following tonight is the Indiana U.S. Senate race. Incumbent Democrat Joe Donnelly against Republican Mike Braun and Libertarian Lucy Brenton.
Now, this race has implications as Republicans are watching closely as they try to keep control of the U.S. Senate. Eyewitness News' Jessica Smith works in our Washington newsroom. She is live now from the Capitol tonight. And Jessica, this midterm is one the likes we have not seen in a very long time. The Indiana Senate race closely being watched nationwide. What are you learning about how this race is leaning from your perspective?
You know, we are watching Indiana very, very closely, and we don't know which way this race is going to go yet. Most of the polls that I've seen show the state leaning toward Donnelly, but it's within the margin of error. So Mike Braun could come back and take this seat. It is a very important seat for both parties. If Republicans can win Indiana, they're hoping they can expand their majority, but Democrats are hoping that they can hold on to this seat. We've seen President Trump, former President Barack Obama, both campaigning in Indiana, really putting a lot of resources toward this race. So we will see in just a little bit which way this goes.
Now, this race could really impact control of the Senate if Donnelly is defeated by Mike Braun. Isn't that the case, Jessica?
Yeah, it can. Republicans just have a slim majority right now, so they're working to expand it, and Indiana would be huge for that. As you know, President Trump won the state by 19 points back in 2016, so Republicans are really hoping they can build on that momentum and elect Mike Braun to have another Republican in the Senate.
And Jessica, President Trump has held several packed rallies in Indiana during this midterm campaign, but this race is still tight despite that. Is the strategy that Joe Donnelly is using working with the president on some ideas, working with the voters? And what has the president been saying today?
You know, we'll see if this strategy works. I think Donnelly has been really walking a tightrope, trying to keep his Democratic base happy, but also get some of those moderate Republicans who maybe don't like the president's tough tone as much. They don't like some of his policies. They want a more moderate approach. So you have seen Donnelly work with the president on things like opioids and his right to try law, but then he has bucked the president and gone with his party on things like tax cuts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. He voted against him. So we'll see if that pays off for Donnelly, but he's really trying to get voters on both sides of the aisle.
All right, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be checking in with you later on tonight. It's going to be a big night ahead. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, Jessica. Well, Indiana Senate race is one of the most expensive in the country. Political research group OpenSecrets.org says more than $100 million has been thrown into the contest, with the vast majority coming from outside sources. Well, take a look at the numbers, see for yourself. The total spend is upwards of $104 million. Incumbent Democrat Joe Donnelly has spent about $13.8 million. The record shows $68 million came from outside sources, with Republican and Democrat super PAC poured in a combined $30 million. The GOP super PAC spent $15 million against Donnelly. And Donnelly is setting up base at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Indianapolis. We'll be taking you there throughout the evening as they try to determine when and if he will be able to hold on to that Senate seat.
Now, Republican challenger Mike Braun raised nearly $16 million. Most of the funding for his campaign came from himself, building off of his business success.